Good afternoon, folks. We out here. We all there. We out here to Bamba. We come to chill with the big boys. Good to have each and every one of you join our international podcast. We are broadcasting live from our national capital city of Georgetown, Guyana, where we broadcast internationally. We are so glad for the hospitality of such a wonderful city. As rainy as it is outside, we are so happy to be with you, and we are tremendously pleased and privileged. We are overwhelmed. We are excited that you guys are here with us as well. We are so glad to see so many of you joining us. Guys, welcome, welcome, Africa Charles and Triselle Chipper 68. Let us know how you folks are doing. Claire, Alexis, Charmley Richmond, and Yvonne Ferguson, Veronica Primo Rollins, Whiskey Session. Welcome, folks. Pauline Gentle, Tasha Sillett, and Dora David Petal Thorne, and Mohammed Hussein. Folks, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're expecting to be dropping by the one and only Sherwin Holder, Member of Parliament, and this fine gentleman, this youngster, this young man, he's also the chairman of the PNCR, the People National Congress Reform. And also, we're going to be joined by Mr. Danishwar Jai Prashad, the Honorable Member of Parliament, folks. And he's going to be joining us as well. We are so happy, folks, that these guys are going to be with us as you come on the broadcast, as you join the podcast, folks. We encourage you to share the live stream. Don't be stingy. Not because it's lunchtime. Don't be stingy. Y'all share the thing. Share the thing. Osman Edwards, how you doing? Collis Ashby, good to see you, Collis. Collis is here. Grace Lindo, I know a couple Lindos, all fantastic, wonderful, beautiful, peace-loving, uncontroversial people. Terence Beaton, good to see you. And Sia Rebel. Notice I ain't say rebel. Sia. Notice I ain't say rebel. Rebel. I see you. How you doing? Good to have you here. Stand born. We there, we there, we there. Boom. There is Jai Prashad and there is Sherwin. Good to see you, folks. Good to see you guys. We're going to be talking about one is called the resource curse. That's our topic for discussion today, folks, because everywhere we turn, things tight. Things tight. And so we're going to be discussing this whole concept of the resource curse. Right? Everywhere we turn, we seeing things are tight, tight, tight. And folks, for those of you who are with us, the resource curse, it is described, guys, it is described as this paradox of plenty, or it is also called the poverty paradox. In this phenomenon, countries with an abundance of natural resources, such as ours, we got everything. Country with an abundance of natural resources, right, is characterized that they have less economic growth, less democracy, and the worse development outcomes, and rather worse development outcomes than countries with fewer natural resources. For instance, Barbados. Only thing Barbados got is Mia. That is all. It's only Mia. But Barbados seems to be on a growth trajectory, democratically and elsewise. We got everything, folks, and it's confusion powder. It is confusion powder. Things tight. And that is what we're going to be talking about. You got a lot of resources, but people still poor. That's what we're talking about. And we're going to look at several instances. We are going to look at several instances of where we see this being exemplified. Valletta, that's what we're going to be doing. Gwyneth Jones and Marilyn King, no, Nicola Daniels, and Gwyneth and Maureen, all the wonderful folks are here with us. Guys, good to have you here. Good to have you here. We'd rather be no other place than with such fine, upstanding, good natured, measured people, cultured people. I dare say so. And we can take a listen to the installed Minister of Agriculture calling my name. Stop it. Stop it now. We happy you're watching the program. But you all know we talking the facts. So don't run me down the people in Bushlat and Blairmont and all over the place. Stop that. Tell them come here for the facts. That's what we deal with. There's not no propaganda. I'm talking to Zulfikar Mustafa. That's who I'm talking to today. I'm already feeling fired up and ready to go. Willie Bell, hold me back, somebody. Hold my back. Hold my back, somebody. Sheena Hazel, good to see you there. Grace Lindo, good to have you. Velva Claudia, good to have you. Velva, Sheena, and Nicola. Daniel, you know some people pronounce this name Nicola as Nicola. Have a wonderful colleague in the Alliance for Change, Nicola Trotman. She said, don't call me Nicola, it's Nicola. Please and thank you. Very stoosh, very bushy. Very, very much so. Guys, good to see you. Good to see you, Loretta Argyle and Audrey Ward. Good to see you, folks. Roxanne, Odessa Jacobs, and Donna Barry. How are you doing, Donna? Donna, I see a little bit, man. Everything good? Everything's on the up and up. Y'all guys hearing me clear? Y'all seeing me good? Everything on the up and up. Folks, how is the weather where you're? Before we get into Sulfikar and them, these whole used tires, before we get into them, how is the weather where you guys are? How is the weather? Guys, what you having for lunch? Folks, I'm having a fantastic, fantastic cook up, right? Fantastic cook up. This is the kind of cook up when people come at your house and eat it. They want to go home. They don't want to go home. They want to stay. Oh, the cook up is lovely. It's not too dry and it's not too wet. It's right there. Oh, and it's hot, folks. It's a black eyed peas. This is the kind of cook up that comes with the warning at the bottom of the box. At the bottom of the box, requires 2 hours sleep after eating. Fantastic. The folks telling us France is cold. Tasha, say that you need this kind of cook up in France, girl. This will warm you up, warm up your soul. And then it comes with a lovely salad at the top, a lovely green vegetable salad. That's all. It's just green. Beautiful, right? In another point in my life, I said this bush. But as I get older, I come to appreciate the salad. It looks wonderful. And then they have chopped off this lovely black eye cook up. Just right. It has some jerk chicken on the side. Oh my God. If I didn't know this food here, I don't want it. If it wasn't here, I don't want it. Yep, Tasha Singh sent some food for her. Beautiful. It said, and Utility Grant says it's rainy in Ithaca. You think you never invite me to Ithaca, though? Never invite me. So, folks, I just want to know what you guys are having. Cecile Ogle is joining us from Festival City, where the party's at. It's very festival there in that city. Colin Barnwell, good to see you. I beg your pardon. Folks, that the cook up go down the wrong throat. We say the cook up go down the wrong throat. Yes. Donna Barry says she's having some saltfish with some rice and dal. Yeah, beams, Donna, beams. Oh my, this cook up looks delish. And they have put a little, some, what do you call it? Is it a potato salad as well? Back in the days, just a mashed potato. Whoever potato on the side of your food is mashed potato. So there's that as well. Folks, good to have you. Good to have you. Yep. Candice says she can't have cook up because I have no garlic. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The garlic, folks. The garlic, right? The garlic. That's the thing eluding a lot of us. The prices knocking we. The prices. People things tight. And that's the question we were asking. That is the question we're asking. Is this the resource curse? Again, you have a lot of resources, but people still poor, right? Gasoline price still high. Garlic price heavy. Bora and Allianz trading for the same price. Cabbage, plantains expensive, but yet your country got so much resources. It got a couple crosses though. Maybe it's that. It's the crosses we got to carry. Every man, that's what the word said, right? Pick up your cross and carry it. Why? Heist up. Earphone, heist up. Heist up, Papa Jagabat. We got to carry them. That's beyond. That's beyond. Every man must carry his own cross, right? Every man. Carla Forbes, good to see you there. We coming to Mustafa, coming down. I'm coming down to Mustafa. I don't know why Mustafa got my thing in my name in his mouth. Right? Everybody on me bones. I don't know. Auntie Ado calling me. Mustafa calling me. I'm torn, you know, in several directions. I must go hither and thither. Right? Why they calling me? Right? Don't call me. Y'all, your problems. Deal with your problems. You promise the farmers certain things. And y'all is not the people with y'all things. You can't come up to scratch. Then you got to do what you got to do. Just pack your bags and go. Mustafa, just go. Look what the guy's doing to this sector. Gwenna Jones said, hold on, the word sector right now, hold on. Gwenna Jones says she's having some elbow leaf with okra with rice. Mm-mm, you got up, Gwyneth. You got up. You're probably in perfect health when eating so healthy. Gotta be in perfect health. Oh my. Candy says garlic is from 700 to $1,000. You know they should give people a little warning before they raise this price. I would have bought like 3, 4 pounds, and put up. So garlic has gone from 700 to $1,000. My God. You got to choose now if you're eating the chicken by itself or you're just eating plain garlic because garlic more expensive than chicken, right? A friend of mine introduced me as we were talking about lunch to a lovely little hole in Albert Tongue, a lovely little place selling some Brazilian cuisine, folks. This little pork I bought, I thought it was gonna be a lovely grilled pork. Like they just dash. They put the steak on the water and just dash a little salt and they dash a little seasoning. Whoever stick, stick. Whoever fall out, fall out. That's it. We are accustomed to our well marinated. That every culture deals with me the same way. But we are accustomed, I think, here to a well marinated meat and so on. I grew up with my mother used to put seasoned up meat. When you buy it, you season all the meat one time, right? In those days, you could buy 100 pounds of beef chicken one time, right? Things were going good couple of years ago. It's only now you can't even afford half, right? You're accustomed to well marinated, those seasonings and so on get into the flesh of that meat, right? When you eat Are you guys hearing us now? Let us know if you're hearing us. We're gonna keep testing to see. Are you guys hearing us? That should be better. Apologies there. Or apologies. Or apologies. As soon as we said, folks, as soon as we said cheese is 10.60 a pound, confusion powder. Like them boys send the things. Them boys send the thing. Margaret, Pat more, them folks send the things. Soon as we said, right? Bop, 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 bop. This is how it's going now. Jesus, 1060. Them boys gone with me. Bonita, Elise, Parker, good to see you guys here. But we're just monitoring. But I was saying that there was this little place that we found selling Brazilian cuisine in Alberton, and we were going to test it. Well, this little, this, I got a little joke about it to deal with. They're eating out all over the place. So he carried me to this place now. And the pork wasn't what I was expecting at all. But by contrast, moving on, by contrast, a place we found in Linden, my wife and I, about 2 weekends ago, went up to Linden just to get a change of scenery, some fresh air, and so on. Spent the night. We got some delicious ribs at Four Corner Junction. Whatever's a little place there that sells food. Those folks are very efficient. I love them. From 6 in the morning, they're out. Breakfast is ready, and they go probably till 6 the next morning. But tremendously beautiful food there, folks. I believe it or not, strangely enough, that was the first time I was having ribs. And I was always turned off by the fact, like, why would people even want to eat ribs? Like all this bone. It was like a no-brainer. But I decided I was out. I was going to try something different, and I ordered the ribs. Folks, I was pleasantly surprised. You ever hear about meat falling off of the bone? Right? Meat falling off. I don't know. Like these guys in Alberton, they had an old pig or something. But that thing, the tough, rough. I know as one gets older, your teeth and so on. It's not what it used to be. You can try having anything and the roughage and so forth. But that pork that they did, that ribs in Linden, my lord, the meat was, I say, falling off. Soon as you touch that thing, right, like that, just melting away. It was delish. Got to go back for some of that. How was lunch with y'all there? How was lunch with y'all? Guyanese brown sugar says 5 corners. Why do I always say 4 corners? Or am I right or are you wrong? A Guyanese brown sugar. Guys, good to have you. Good to have each and every one of you. Smash that emoji button for us and share the live stream. And folks, we ain't saying 40 for nothing. We ain't saying 10.60 for a pound of cheese for nothing, because you know the last time we were quoting this figure. That figure that shall not be mentioned, because like, that's the black tongue thing on this show. This show. Because we went down there for a minute or two. But guys, we out here. Share the live stream and smash that emoji button as well. Jai Prashad is going to be joining us, Member of Parliament, Dineshwar Jai Prashad, out of Region 6, doing some good work on the ground there in Region 6. As a matter of fact, I spoke with Jai Prashad earlier on. He was busy counseling with somebody. This is a man who's busy. And then you got an equally busy person in the chairman of the new, fresh, young chairman, I think youngest chairman ever of the PNCR, Mr. Sherwin Holler, an engineer by training, by education, by practice. And Jai Prashad got master's degree in everything. Everything. He got a master's degree. Unlike some people who went to IFLAT University. That being said, folks, we're going to have them with us shortly. Smash that emoji button. And Ravi Diorup says he's having catfish and rice in Brooklyn. Ravi, I like Bacchanal. Now you come to Bambo. You want to chill with the big boys, Ravi. You want to chill with the big boys. Ravi says he's having catfish and rice in Brooklyn. Well, Ravi, I hope one of them bones come loose. And, all right. I can stop there. We just teasing, Ravi. We just hope you got your skin good, Ravi. Hope your skin good. Vanessa De Silva, we see you. Vanessa says it's 150 for a pound of flour. Like, I got to give up everything now. I got to revise the whole shopping list. Vanessa says 150. Folks, I felt it the other evening. I went to put some gas in my vehicle. And when I gave the girl the 50 US, and I see the gas tank laugh at the 50 US. The gas tank laugh at it. Right? The needle never budge. I say, well, look at this here. Look, I got park this thing and walk now, right? Or sell the car and buy two bicycles and keep the environment clean. Because nothing irregular, nothing not regular. Folks, we're going to have these guys with us shortly. I'm so looking forward to talking with Sherwin Hole. I'm so looking forward to talking with Dineshwar Jaipashad. But first, let me head back to the Minister of Agriculture. Head back to the Minister of Agriculture because the man calling me names. And you know if the man calling me names, yeah, let me calling too. Folks, let me tell you something. I tend to think my mother was right when she said that I'm an extremely boring person. Is y'all let's bring the excitement? Is y'all got all them people on me bones? Maureen and so on? Y'all got all them people on my bones. Y'all got all them people on our bones. Y'all doing it. Right? Folks, we getting volume at our end if y'all in hearing. Somebody saying volume. Right? Things tight. Four banger for 1,000. Don Sullivan, oh God, like we got give a banger to, but look how this government gonna change now. We gotta give a banger to four banger for 1,000. So here is the agriculture minister, right, trying to rackle them rice farmers, and he run out of arguments. He got to invoke Chisel Chipper name. He got to invoke Candy Nalini Injajit name. Sierra Bell, he got to invoke your name. Don Salva name got to be invoked as well. BHS Selby, he got to invoke your name too because he called me name, he calling y'all name. Right? Run the lane says garlic is 1 pound garlic is 600. My God. So you could carry the garlic by is it getting spade pan shop and get a little something out of it? Huh? Well, Candy send the thing. Candy lean energy says soon we can eat grass, but Candy make sure you're eating the grass next to the customs officer who shoot the two men who come for pick little grass. Make sure you go next door by he because you can't even eat little grass. Lindsay Lohan says 600 for a pound of beef. My God, it's where they're bringing them cows from. It's where they're feeding them at $600 a pound. And before you know, the Minister of Agriculture, before he's talking about these substantive things, the man invoking my name. Right? Me name getting called. Me name getting called. Take a listen, folks. Take a listen at the fella. Take a listen at the fella. Take a listen for yourself. Anyone you see me lying funny. Take a listen.
That they don't give any increase, any relief. And when the relief started, many of your name were not on the list. And many persons who are sitting down right here at campaign fight receive a lot of money. Right? Well, that's the point. That is dishonesty that we talking. You can't expect to be. And here you have a chance to speak. And I'll call you up in front just now. But come and talk. I'll give you the mic, right? I want to raise all the issues and then I'm going to respond to it. Go. You see, that's the mentality, you know. If you don't want to listen, comrade, you can leave. Let us not disturb the rest. I am saying again, comrades, that the government, the president is very concerned that, as I said, I am here today. We are seeing all kinds of misrepresentation. We are seeing people who never do anything for this rice industry, trying to make up protests from language cola, trying to encourage the residents. I saw that and I know, and persons are sitting right here in this crowd here, who doesn't have the rice industry interest at heart, but they would like to see protest and disruption in the industry. They would like to see that the people commit wrong things and then police lock them up and say that the people I vote for the government and lock them up. That they would like to see. That's the kind of psychology they want. Whereas the Apple actually did nothing for this industry. When I was in Parliament during the budget debate, Ramsey was texting me, saying that we give out all the flood relief money in Blackbush Coal and the upper quarantine. And to let them men that talk about the rice industry, when they look at this guy, Sharon Duncan, and them, they can do everything for this country now. Everything for this country.
And he's right. He's absolutely right. We could do everything for the country. Right? We could do better than the PPP. We could do better than the Jagabats and the Trench Crappos. So we land till on a stage in Blackbush, Polar, Braemont, or one of them places. Blackbush Polar. He was talking to the farmers there, and the farmers are trying to talk because he wanted to do all the talking. He trying to shut them down. But this in a long time. This and a long time at all, at all, at all. Folks, we're gonna be joined by these fellas. We're talking about, well, is this the resource course? You got so many resources, but people still poor. People still poor. We're gonna be talking about some of the issues that demonstrates that. We're gonna be talking about that. So, folks, just bear with us. Bear with us for a second. Let me drag these guys into the studio. Let's invite them into the studio. I'm so looking forward to hearing from them. Bigly, looking forward to hearing from them. Bigly, folks. Bigly. So give us a sec. Let's get ourselves together this end and prepare to welcome our guests. Prepare to welcome the guests. Bear with us, guys. Bear with us. We opening the door and we letting them in. Oh, almost stumped my toe there, folks. And we have with us, folks, the chairman of the PNCR, People's National Congress Reform, the one and only Mr. Sherwin Holder. Right? Let me just find my way here. My brother, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Jared. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to your listeners, and thanks for having me.
I am so happy you are here. And let me try to bring in uh, Jai Prashad as well, Mr. Jai Prashad. Good to have you, Sherwin. How are things on the Essequibo coast?
Well, as you can see, it's not going very well. Region two, the economic activity in Region two is predominantly rice farming, so it's obviously not going well with the farmers there, and hence the protest action today.
Yep.
I'm frequently in the region, so I've had some interaction with farmers over the last weekend, and I'm not surprised with the actions taken here today.
No doubt, no doubt. Folks, we have with us, by way of a more formal introduction, the chairman of the People's National Congress Reform, Mr. Sherwin Hole. He's a member of parliament as well, represents ably that region there, and the Essequibo region, being Region 2. And we are joined by Mr. Dineshwar Jaiprasad, the able MP, also out of Region 6. And thanks to the beauty of technology, we could have both of them in studio with us this afternoon. Jai Prashad, a very good afternoon. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to all of viewers and listeners.
Well, it seems to be that protest is the order of the day because just yesterday you had some protest action in Region 6, not only with the taxi drivers indicating that they have to raise the fare because things tight, but also with the farmers at that end as well. And then, as Sherwin said, in Region 2, you have now just today, folks, just in coming on, just in starting the broadcast, we learned that farmers at that end in Essequibo too are protesting and things tight basically. That's all you could say, things tight. So let's start with Jai Prashad. Dineshwar, tell us about the two spates of protest at your end and what is being asked for, and are they going to get it?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Duncan. And I must say special good afternoon to everyone. A special good afternoon to Comrade Cheer as well. As you rightly said, Mr. Duncan, the entire quarantine things tight. And I am very happy that a lot of our brothers and sisters are coming out to register that things tight with this PVP administration. Um, as it relates to the two protests that we have had, this is the beginning. There are more to come. A lot of our people in Region 6 are very much frustrated with the cost of living and the way the country is being managed at the moment. The first one was the rice farmers. It is very, very sad that all the political promises that were made by the PVP to these rice farmers are not being met. When it was AP and UAFC time, a lot of mischief was done. And now the people are seeing the reality. The people are seeing the reality that the PPP is the same old PPP. The
Mm-hmm.
PPP
Mm-hmm.
is the same old PVP. Um, the rice farmers are very much angry, disgusted with the amount of fake promises that were made to them. They promised the farmers that the millers will give 70%, 70,000 per ton of paddy. And the farmers, the millers, wanted to give 60, 58, and 52,000
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
per ton. The protesters made contact with the relevant government agencies and government ministers who said that they will have 65, but not the farmers are not having that. The farmers came out. I want to say that the farmers came out and protested on the number 43 road there. And the manner in which the police handled the matter was very unprofessional and inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We know
Yep.
what the protesters did in Bath. The protesters at Bath, they made the police run. That was under the Granger administration. People need to go back to Facebook and find it. And now the police manhandling all people and people who are there protesting for their right, for their daily bread. If they receive 50,000 per ton, these men will, a lot of them will commit themselves. God forbid, but the people will not be able to go another crop. That
Mm-hmm.
is number one. So things really, really rough with the rice farmers in Region 6. Fertilizer double, diesel up, gasoline up, cost of production up, the manual labor that you will pay for spraying and manure and so up. So these people are facing a very tough time right now, and we know tougher days are ahead under the PPP. So as it relates to the hire car protests, this one is very, very serious because we all need public transportation. We all
Correct.
depend on these
Correct.
guys. And for the government to see a hike in gasoline and not doing anything, not subsidizing, not put some system in place, is literally telling the poor people, you understand? And I'm saying that we need to be able to carry more of what is happening because a lot of our people are frustrated. The high car operators are just asking for an increase because the gasoline is up from 209 to 246.
Yep. Yep. A big jump. That was a
It
shocker.
means then that
That was a shocker.
that's it.
Yep.
It means then that people will be suffering.
Yep.
You can't expect a man to pay 1.5 times for a gallon of gasoline and still charge you the same amount of money.
Yep.
Why the government can use some money to subsidize?
Biggest budget ever.
You know,
You were there. I was
biggest
there.
budget,
Sharon was there.
exactly.
Biggest budget ever just passed.
But this biggest budget is for make the rich buy richer and the poor man
That
feel
is
the
what I'm
pressure.
saying. But it seems like the bigger the budget is, the bigger the problems, the bigger the pains for the poor people. It seems that
So
way.
these protests, MP Duncan, these protests are the beginning. There are a lot of more to come because the ministers are not responding the way in which they are supposed to respond. The people are getting frustrated day after day, and this is just the beginning. We heard that the Rosal people, from the hire cars operator from Rosal to New Amsterdam, they will strike, and the hire car operators are working Kanji up the bank. They too will take it um, um, later down this week. So this is just the beginning, and we want to say to our viewers and listeners, this is what happened when the PPP is in charge.
Yep,
This is what
yep,
happened
yep.
when the
And I
PPP
want
is
to
in
tell
charge.
our listeners as well as we have Jai Prashad here that flour, that's a staple, that farmers are staple in households across this country. That has gone up too. So we're talking gasoline, you're talking right across the board, everything going up. And folks, this was not only due to war in Ukraine. Right, Sharon and I were talking about rising fertilizer costs in Essequibo about 2 months ago, and they had no war in Ukraine then. MP Sherwin Holler, talk to us about the protests happening at your end. It seems as though protests is spanning the length and breadth of this country.
Yes, thanks, Sherrod. And it's pretty much the same situation in Region 2. In all of Guyana, in fact, except in some outlying regions where it's actually worse than what is happening on the coast. But I want to zone in specifically in Region 2. It's pretty much the same as Region 6. Everything has gone up, the cost of living up, the cost of fuel um, has gone up tremendously, bringing real strain to the people of Region Two. The only economic activity there in Region Two is agriculture, and of course you would understand that an increase in fuel as has occurred lately, this rapid increase obviously would bring a strain on the agriculture sector. Now, I want to say to you that there there isn't or there isn't what I must say, how must I put it, a heavy focus. There doesn't seem to be a heavy focus by this government on the agriculture sector, but rather what we're seeing is everything is being focused on the oil and gas,
Yeah.
which will not necessarily improve the agriculture sector and improve, go a long way towards improving the lives of the ordinary people, especially people like the farmers of Region 2, amongst other groups, sweeper cleaners, other, the working poor generally. So there needs to be a shift in focus by the government immediately towards agriculture, and that would aid in that would go a long way towards bringing down the cost of living, the cost of food prices, and that is what we've been saying for the last two
Yep.
years.
Yep.
You've got to
Yep.
focus on the agriculture sector rather than inventing these policies of bringing black belly sheep from Barbados, which is ridiculous. You need a holistic approach towards agriculture across the length and breadth of this country. I want to zone in specifically on the rice farmers today. And I wish that I would have the time to actually come on your program in the ring so that persons can see me and I can expand more on it. But
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you
Mm-hmm.
what's happening. Other than the cost of living that has gone up, fertilizer has doubled from about $5,000 to about $10,000. Fuel price pretty much doubled, and there is no upward movement in the cost that the millers are, or the price that the millers are paying to the farmers. Now, I saw in region number 6 where farmers are protesting 60 a shift from about $70,000 per ton to about $60,000 per ton. They are not having any of that because they're saying that cannot maintain them, that cannot work, given the overheads that they have to pay. Now, I want you to understand this, and your listeners to understand it. In
Talk to us.
region two, in region two, those farmers are getting 50,000 per ton. So
Wow.
the farmers in
Wow.
Berbice are protesting 60,000 and 65,000
Yeah.
per ton.
Yeah.
Imagine what the farmers are faced with in region number 2. It's the same economic situation, Sharon. Region 2 is the same geographically. It's on the coastline. All the pressures that would come with it, the flooding, everything the same that occurs in region 6 occurs in region 2
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
So they are $10,000 per ton less. And you know what happened today, Sharon? They sent down Minister Dharamlan Deer, and he seemed, in the view of the farmers, because I've spoken with a number of them, he seemed clueless. He went there, and the first thing he said to them, he asked them, what is the price they are getting? So immediately The farmers were perturbed.
Red flag.
They said this guy gotta be clueless because you come here as the minister of government representing the government and you don't know what is the cost, what is the price they're giving us for paddy. So that was the first issue that they had with Minister Darren Lad. And so it appeared as though they just sent him there to try and appease the farmers. And he actually made an offer to say, look, the government has negotiated some deal with the millers and you will get 52,000 per ton. That cannot work. It cannot work. If the farmers in Region 6 are protesting 60,000, how can the farmers survive on 52,000 in Region 2? Now, I want to give some details here, some brief details, and let your
All
viewers
farmers
understand
apparently aren't equal.
What it Yes, exactly. And Region 2, historically, Region 2 has been a region that traditionally supported the PPP. And as Dineshwar rightfully said, they made a lot of mischief during the APNU AFC time in government to convince farmers otherwise. But the fact remains that, look, our administration set out to correct a lot of the issues that farmers had. The cost of living, for one, was not this high. So obviously, if cost of living go up, people will expect to earn more to keep up with that cost of living.
Correct.
The fuel price wasn't that high. The other local issues like the blackouts, etc., we curbed that, and we negotiated markets, a number of markets for the farmers, for the millers, so that the millers could have afforded to pay a $3,500 a bag, or a $3,200, or even $3,000. At that time, that worked because of the cost of living. That worked for the farmers. But now they're saying that the cost of living is so high, so much higher, that can no longer work. And so I think again it will leave on a new APNU AFC government to get in there and to correct this and to bring some semblance to this, some level, bring these issues to a level where it's acceptable and a price that the farmers can work with. I believe that an APNU government going back to power will have to once again deal with this matter and bring some level of comfort to these farmers once again. Now, if I may share it, I want to give your listeners an understanding of what it takes to be a rice farmer. What are the overhead costs? Now you have to plow the field first and foremost. You have to plow it. Now, for an acre of land, plowing, you will have to do 2 or 3 cuts. It will range. On average, plowing will cost you about $18,000. Then you have to buy seed paddy to sow the paddy in the field. That entails a cost to buy it and a labor cost, which will be about $12,000 together. You have to throw fertilizer about 3 times. That altogether for an acre of land will cost you about, fertilizer itself will cost you about $30,000. Labor will cost you about $6,000 or more. You have to spray for pests. Spraying all together at different intervals. Spraying all together will cost you about $12,000 for the chemical, and then you have to pay labor costs of about $8,000 per acre. Additionally, you have to pay some land tax. In a nutshell, those are the overhead costs that you have to pay. Amounts to somewhere between $6,000 to $7,000 to $83,000 to plant an acre and to reap, right? An acre of land. Now, when you get $50,000 per ton, that works out to about $3,300 per bag. That gives you a gross earning of $115,000. When you subtract $83,000 from that, you are left with $32,500 per acre. So this is per crop. This is for 6 months we're talking about, right? So if you have 1 acre land, you will get $32,500 for a whole 6 months. That's 1 acre land. Let's say a farmer, and there are many small farmers. Let's say a farmer has 10 acres of land, that is still considered as a small farmer, up to 12, 20 acres. But most person will just have 5 acres. Well, let's say 10 acres of land a small farmer has.
Uh-huh.
You multiply that by 32,500, you will have $325,000. That is your net earning. Gerard, that is for 6 months. One crop is for 6 months. There are two
Uh-huh.
crops for the year. One crop, that's one crop money. Now, and if you divide that per month, it means therefore that that farmer earns $54,166 per month. Gerard, that is below the minimum wage. That is below the minimum wage. So it definitely cannot work for the farmers. It definitely cannot work. You will recall in Parliament, we asked that the working poor, we raised that tax threshold to $125,000 because when we work out expenses, food, rent, etc., it goes over $100,000 so per month. Now, so if you have a farmer earning only $54,000 per month, how is he to maintain his family? How is he going to survive? Some of these farmers take loans from the bank for their fields. How are they to repay their loans? These are the questions that the government must answer. So
Correct.
I just
Correct on all
broke it down
points.
there so that your listeners can understand the plight of these farmers. It is no
Yep.
gimmick. It's a real
Yep.
plight.
So, folks, you heard what is happening there in Region 6, protests because of the cost of living, things tight. And Sharon just gave us a beautiful overview of what's happening in Region 2, folks. And this is an economy that is ran by the PUP, as the guys rightfully said, who touted that they got the know how. Apnu AFC can't teach them nothing. And as the figures that we're looking at here, and I hope Sharon and I have to get that larger discussion later on, suggest that Rice did better on the Apnu AFC. Rice did
Correct.
better on the Apnu AFC. MP Jai Prashad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that during AP and UAFC, we had the largest production of paddy in Guyana, and it comes back to say that AP and UAFC, we had some issues, yes, but we were able to negotiate with farmers and afford them the opportunity to produce more. And
Mm-hmm.
now we see that the mischief that the PVP did when Apto was in government is backfiring now because
Mischief indeed.
they
Mischief
promised
indeed.
the farmers. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
And you know
Yeah.
what? MP Jai Prashad and Holder, this in a long time. I heard the minister,
Exactly.
the installed minister of agriculture in Blackbush, talking with some residents there, some farmers, and they're talking back to Ians, basically saying you're talking nonsense. You come here to cause down up new AFC. We served our time, did what we had to do, and moved aside. Y'all in now, do the thing. Soon as you talk to them guys, where y'all SOPs there? What is there? What is that? Lead if you got to lead and stop
Exactly.
talking
And
foolishness. MP Holder.
MB Duncan, I want to say,
Great answer.
when the honorable minister met with the rice farmers, he promised that they will receive 65,000. And when the rice farmers went to the miller, they get less than 65. It means that the minister word has to wait.
Mm-hmm.
The farmers, the millers say, the minister can say what you have to say. We're gonna pay what we want. So the
Now,
people back now at square one.
now, if I can jump in right there,
Go right ahead.
from what I gather from the media, the minister in explaining that they will get $65,000, he laid out a series of steps which included benefits for the millers. So it is surprising and appalling that they have now moved to reduce some tax and so for the millers, and then these farmers are still not getting the benefit that they were
Exactly.
promised. So you give these benefits to the millers, you afford them these benefits, but yet they now come back to say we can give 65, we'll give 62. 62 cannot work. It cannot work. When they were getting 70 is a much reasonable number.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Every man for himself. And you know what, fellas, you know what shocked me? Let me tell you what shocked me, because we're discussing whether this is the resource curse, and we outlined it for our listeners early on. But for those persons who may now be joining us, let us discuss that in brief. What is referred to as the resource curse, guys? And according to what we have here, according to our research, it is this paradox of plenty, or the poverty paradox. It is a phenomenon in which countries with an abundance of natural resources, having less economic growth, less democracy, and whose development outcomes and worse development outcomes than countries with fewer natural resources and we got everything. That is the point. Fellas, I was saying earlier, and what shocked me about these new and recent developments, we were looking to region 1, Burima Waini region, and we are seeing folks, the Warao people, they are photographs in circulation on social media, foraging through garbage, looking for food. This is in a country that we had three biggest budgets in 2000, in 2021, right? In 2020, 2021, 2022. They boast about that, the biggest budgets ever. And you got people in this small population of ours looking through garbage. These aren't destitute people, it's not mad people. It's citizens, right? It is
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
whether citizens or otherwise, cover looking through garbage.
Sharon, I'm happy that you mentioned that because in my budget speech, I highlighted the way this country with Gaddafi, Libya, the
Libya,
way
yep, yep.
Libya dealt with their oil and gas as a new industry. And what I said is that while they did the big infrastructure projects, they also focused at the same time on their people and elevating the poor and alleviating poverty.
Yeah.
But there in Guyana, there doesn't seem to be that focus from this PPP government. We have to use the oil money to develop our human resource, develop our people, focus on the poor, the vulnerable, disadvantaged,
Mm-hmm.
focus on our poor farmers, focus on the sweeper cleaners, focus on those people at the bottom, bring them up to some livable level. That is what we're supposed to be doing. And they have
Exactly.
access, they have unlimited access to the oil funds currently as it is. And what are they doing with it? What are we seeing happening? And I want to touch on another point. Now, I didn't get to touch this in the budget speech, but the focus on the gas to shore project, and there's a lot surrounding there. But one of the things we would have expected, and one of the things that they promised, was that they would have had some cheaper fertilizer, for example. Now that they're in government, there seems to be a shift. There is not much talk
Yep. Yep.
about that anymore.
Yep.
And we're saying, and that is why at the press conference, the PNC press conference many weeks ago, we put forward that, government, there are other options. Government can look at containerizing the gas out there, and quickly the focus should be getting it moving in the direction of producing cheap fertilizer and that kind of thing. Because this government seems to be talking about cutting electricity costs, which is good. I don't see the numbers to support it, but you're talking about cutting electricity costs by 50%. But I'm putting that in the context of the rice farmers. That means nothing to a rice farmer, because if you ask a rice farmer whether he prefers a 50% cut in his electricity cost or free fertilizer or very cheap, affordable fertilizer, for
Mm-hmm.
example, he will go for the fertilizer, because when you work the math on it, it,
Mm-hmm.
it works out for their business. The cheap electricity has nothing to do with their business. Their homes, they might pay what, $15,000 per month, and if you cut that, oh, you get a 7,500 off. So what? So what?
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean anything to the rice farmer. If you understand where I'm going with
Yeah.
this,
Yep.
so there needs to be a shift in focus with the oil and gas to develop these other industries, the agriculture industry. That is where we need to focus. And like this government doesn't get that.
But what you've had from them is a shift in lies, because all of their promises are falling flat. As you articulated there, they promised to do the fertilizer plant through the gas to shore at Wales. They have abandoned that, and we only learned that through the oil and gas expo that I had recently, that they have abandoned that. They promised lots of other spin-offs from that gas to shore project, and that was just to make it palatable to Guyanese. But they knew all the while they had no intentions in going in that direction. They knew. Then promised to make sugar great again. How is that looking for us, given Wales, given what's happening with Elmore? And we're hearing Blairmont and Skeldon following the same pattern. The Papa Jagabat already
Yeah.
said,
And,
uh,
and they're yet
Skeldon is slim.
they're saying now that Rose Hall is halfway there, coming up.
Halfway
I don't know
where?
coming up to what.
Halfway where? Coming up to what?
Coming up to what? And I'm happy that you mentioned sugar because I have no quarrel with the people in the sugar industry. I think they deserve better. They should be retrained in the oil and gas sector, and their lives, there should be significant improvement in their lives, rather than them going back to sugar fields and be just cane cutters. That being said, billions of dollars have been invested in the sugar industry for the last 2 years, and we're not seeing it moving in any upward direction. Other than them saying in the chronicle that sugar is sweet again and all these kind of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
billions of dollars of taxpayers' money are going
Bittersweet.
into an industry where it's going nowhere, and where has gone nowhere for the last decade plus. So I'm saying it is better for us to take some money and to invest in the agriculture, especially the rice industry, in the area of rice. That is a better option. We know that rice will go nowhere, at least in the near future, because it is, and when I say nowhere, I mean it is a staple. It is a staple used by so many countries around the world, here in the Caribbean and around the world. And so it stands a better chance than sugar. Sugar is not a staple. It is not a household thing that is being used. There are a number of other options being used in Europe, etc. And that's why we cannot get that priority price for our sugar.
Definitely.
So there needs to be a shift. But you know what? They want to keep those sugar workers, um, in poverty. And so whenever there is a protest, Jack D or them would go down there and they offer something, as he did with the $200 million.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Piecemeal.
just piecemeal, yeah, you share it out and people are happy for a month,
Yeah.
and then it's back to square one again. But that is the nature of the PPP. They don't want to see uh, the people, these farmers, these poor farmers, develop. They don't want to see them educated so that they can make decisions and they can think for themselves and make their own decisions. They want to keep them under their control so that it forms part of a vote farm for them. That whenever elections come, they can go and convince them with a bottle of lies about APNU AFC and what statements of poll and all these crap. That is not where we want to go. That does nothing for this country. It means nothing for the people, for the rice farmers.
Correct is right. Correct is right. Fellas, we have to continue this conversation. We have to
What I
continue this
want your
conversation.
listeners to understand is that the coalition, the PNC, and by extension, the coalition will focus on the poor. That is our focus at this point in time. The poor, the working poor, the disadvantaged, the vulnerable groups, single parents, of course, the rice farmers, sweeper cleaners. Those are the categories of persons that will get special attention from a new APNU AFC government when we get back in power.
Yep. We are running up to our time here, and guys, we have to continue this discussion on whether this is the resource curse, as the economists tell us, foraging for food in the land of the plenty, and it's right across the board. We are seeing this things tight in this place, and we're not going to accept the excuse only that is about this war in Ukraine, because things were heading in this direction months ago. And then when outside of that, they cling on to talking about global supply chains and all stuff. It's their poor leadership and bad management that is to be blamed. front and center. Guys, I want to thank you both, MP Sharon Holder and Dineshwar Jaipashal, for joining us for today's podcast.
You're
Yes,
welcome,
sir.
buddy.
Thanks for
Anytime.
having us.
And we're going to talk
Thanks for
again
having
soon.
us.
Thanks very much, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Folks, that's it.
bye-bye.
That's our time. That's the fellas for us. I want to say thank you once again to both Chairman of the PNCR, the one and only Mrs. Sherwin Holder, and Member of Parliament, the Honorable Member of Parliament, Sherwin Holder, and the Honorable Member of Parliament as well, Dineshwar Jaipashad. And Dineshwar represents Region 6, and Sherwin represents Region 2, and ably represents the people there, understanding the issues, guys, in those regions, understanding the issues. We're so privileged that you guys were here with us as well. Whiskey Session and Carlotta Reynolds and Candy Lillian Inderjeet. Good to have you, Gwenna Jones, and all you other fine, fantastic folks. Like Gladstone Matthews is here as well. Good to see you, Shalon Kingston and Hazeline King. Good to have each and every one of you here with us. Paulette Hawk Kippins. Good to have you too, guys. We're going to ask you guys to come back and to partner with us. We got to do more of these programs. We have to keep our people informed. We got to keep our people fired up, ready to go, boots on the ground. We can't back down, folks. We got to take this country back and continue it on that growth trajectory that we were on that growth path that we were on, a real path to prosperity and the good life. That being said, folks, that's our time today. You know, guys, if you want to partner with us, we got several platforms available. You know it by rote now. You know it by memory now. We got Cash App. It's the $ in the ring 592. We got a PayPal and we got Zelle. One email address for both of them, in the ring 592 at gmail.com. In the ring 592 gmail.com. We're available via MMG. That's a local cash app we say. It's the GT&T system MMG. Our number there is 627 6963. 627 6963. We're available also via Western Union and MoneyGram. Folks, come on board, partner with us, and help us to keep on keeping on and do what we do in an even bigly way. In an even bigly way. That being said, folks, stay safe. Have a fantastic, big, beautiful, bright, warm afternoon. And we're going to see you guys back right here in the ring this evening. And that's our time, folks. That's our time. Stay well, folks, and go ahead and be great this afternoon. Go ahead and be great. That's our time. Stay safe. Thanks again, Sherwin, and thanks, Dineshwar, our honorable member of parliament, members of parliament, joining us this afternoon. Stay safe. Stay safe, guys. That's our time. Stay safe.